All right, today we're going to be talking about relations and functions. Relations and functions are very useful for when you are working with graphs and figuring out if a list of coordinate pairs is actually a function or if they are related at all. Okay, so the first vocab word we have is what exactly is a relation? Well, a relation is a set of ordered pairs. Okay, the set of ordered pairs in relation can be shown in multiple different ways. We can list them out using braces, which are these little squiggly lines on either side. All right, with all of the coordinate pairs on the inside of those squiggly lines. Okay, we can use tables, so we can have our x values and or our domains and our y values or our ranges. We could also use graphs. We can actually graph those coordinate pairs to determine if it's a relation, and we can use mapping. Mapping is usually depicted with the domains on one side, the relations on the other side, or the x's and the y's, and then you can use arrows to determine. Okay. All right. So uh, our next idea is what exactly is a function? Well, a function is a relation that assigns exactly one output or range value for each input or domain value. All right. Now, always, 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 the ranges are the y values and the domains are the x values. Okay, so the word domain also means walk of life. A word close to domain is, I can't pronounce that, I'm not even going to try, meaning house. Which of these houses could you enter and live in? Therefore, the x-axis represents the domain. Okay, so when we're talking about domain, just think of x. And when you're talking about range, think of y. You can come up with your own way to remember that. Just always remember domain first, range second, x is always first, y is always second. All right? Okay. So when we're determining if a set of points is in fact a function, we actually have a couple different ways. As I was talking about with the relations, usually they are given to you in this format or in this format, and you need to put them in a graph or a mapping. Okay, so when we're doing that, we can actually use two different tests. The first one is a vertical line test. A vertical line test tells you um, if a graph is a function. So a graph is a function if and only if no vertical line passes through two or more points on the graph. Okay, so what that means is if I take this vertical line, my blue line, okay, usually you can use a pencil in class. That's a really good way to determine it. Uh, if I were to take this and I were to walk it all the way across my line here, or my points, let's just say there's points on here that are creating this line, okay? This particular graph is a function. It is a function because there are no points that are on top of each other, okay? All right, so just like this one's the exact same way. No points appear more than once on my vertical line. Only one point here, one point here, one point here. So this is also considered a function. Okay, now let's look at the opposite. If we scroll down here, If we take my vertical line and I swipe it across, uh-oh, 1, 2, 3 spots it crosses over. All the way across. It's 3 spots. So this is not a function. Alright, same thing with this guy. So we have our line here. Take my blue line, well, in this case it's kind of obvious, it's infinite, so that's also not a function. Okay? Alright, so that's called the vertical line test. It's very simple, okay? Usually when you want to use the vertical line test, you just take a set of points, graph them on a coordinate plane, take your pencil, swipe it across vertically, and see if it crosses over more than once. If not, if it only crosses over once, you're good, it's a function. If it does what these two down here did, it's not a function. You just have to write not a function. Okay? All right. So as I was saying, the first type is the vertical line test. We have a second type to figure out if it's a function, and that's called um, mapping. Okay? Mapping is actually when you take your coordinate points and you're going to put all the x's in one column in order from smallest to largest, and all the y's in order from smallest to largest. So we're actually going to use this number 3 down here to help us with that. So I'm going to go through and I'm going to list all of my x's. So I have them actually in order already. I have 0, 0, 2, and 3. So I'm going to go 0, 0, 2, and 3. Okay, so these are my x's or my domains. I'm going to put a D for domain. Okay, then I'm going to take my y's and I'm going to put them in order. So I have negative 5, 4, 6, and 7. All right, and these are my ranges. Okay, now, because I have 2 zeros here, I don't need to put both of them. I only have to put one. Okay, so what I'm going to do next is I'm actually going to, using my coordinate pairs, I'm going to pair them up. So we know that 3 goes with 7. We know that 2 goes with 6. And then we know that 0 actually goes with both the negative 5 and 4. Okay, now what this is showing us is that we actually have a domain has 2 ranges. And this causes the function to not be a function. Okay. Oops. I don't know what happened there. Okay, it determines it to not be a function. And the reason is because you cannot have multiple ranges for a domain. Okay. You can have one range and multiple domains, but you can't have vice versa. Okay, so this does not work. Okay. All right, let's try one more example. I know this is kind of a weird, difficult thing to see, but we'll try it one more time. Okay, so we have, list out my x's. I have 1, 2, 3. Remember, I have to put them in order, and 6. All right, then I take my ranges. I actually have 2 negative 6's, so I'm only going to write it once. Then I have 6, and I have 7. Okay, now my 1 goes with negative 6. My 2 goes with 6. My 3 goes with 7. And my 6 goes with negative 6. All right, now, This is considered a function because there are different domains for the ranges. Okay, there's different domains for the ranges. Do you guys see the difference? Okay. All right, so we'll do one more example with that. Okay, so which of the following relations is a function? Okay, so if you look at this, which one is a function? Remember, you can only have one domain for every range. Okay, you can only have one domain for every range. So um, you can't have multiple things. Okay, so this one is actually considered a um, not a function because one cannot have two outputs. It can only have one output. Okay? All right. I know this is pretty confusing. We'll practice it a lot in our class tomorrow. Please just make sure be patient. Try not to get frustrated and you'll be fine. Okay?